Welcome to another episode of the Solo Sports Podcast, recorded by one man. Pretty much everything's done by one person. That's why it's called the Solo Sports Podcast, because of the fucking program. And if you haven't figured it out yet, everything is done by one person, so you really should be on board. Welcome to another episode of the Solo Sports Podcast. Today we are going over some of the recent news around the NFL involving the Patriots. Not necessarily even involving football, but, well, some of the more, at least it's news type of thing. I want to start off with saying that I do have my brand new Dante Hightower jersey, so round of applause for that. With that, we're going to jump right in here with talking about the fairly recent coming of the news that Adrian Peterson will be meeting with the New England Patriots today, actually, Monday. I believe it's the 2nd. I could be wrong. Maybe it's the 3rd. It's the 3rd. I was thinking I was going to be wrong right there. It's the 3rd, and Adrian Peterson's meeting with New England today. I believe that's correct. I can also just double check real quick here on that. But it doesn't really matter what day they're meeting. They're meeting regardless. And I wanted to kind of touch base with that. I felt like that was pretty important. I like it. I do like the idea of AP coming to New England. And I'll tell you why. Because the only complaint that I've heard is we don't want him. He beats his children. And I'm not going to get into the beating his children thing because I don't want to. That's not what this podcast is about. I'm doing my best to stay away from political agendas and other just nonsense that doesn't involve football whatsoever. Because I know there's people that are like, oh, he beats his kid, he does all that shit, but I don't want to get involved with that. That's his personal life. I'm not touching base with that. And by the way, people are absolutely ruthless. If you go on Twitter, that's all you'll find of this man. I'm not justifying what he did, because obviously, whether you believe in disciplining your children physically at all, whether it's spanking or doing what he took it a step too far. I'm not going to say that's as far as I'm going to go there. But people are absolutely ruthless. He's not a bad guy. He's not a bad dad. He posted a picture the other day on Twitter it was like a compilation of photos of him basically putting his son to sleep. And he crawled into the crib, and I guess he got stuck in the crib with his son for a while. And people, the comments on it are just straight cancer. Everything is about, oh, well, did you beat him after you put him to sleep? And it's so brutal. It's hard to seriously go on his social media and look through people. Like, you're not going to find people like, oh, such a good dad. There's every once in a while, but usually those people are just like thrown out the window, and then the 90% of the comments is just something about him beating his son. But anyway, back to the topic we were initially talking about. That's why people don't want him. Because they don't want that image with the team of, we're okay with you beating your children, which I get. I mean, I understand that, but from a football perspective, I want him on the team, 100%. I think he's been with one team his entire. He's loyal. He's a loyal dude. He's been with the Vikings his whole career. The Vikings have not been good. They've had seasons, but they have not. He wants a ring. He deserves a Super Bowl ring. He's arguably one of the best running backs we will ever see. The dude is a freak. He's not real. At 32 years old, his production, I think, is still, if he puts put on the right team with the right O-line, I think he can still be one of the more productive backs in the league. But I mean, his age is an issue, but the dude is not a human being. He's on an entire different level. And I think it's going to be a while before we see someone like that. You're good in the NFL when every single top running back prospect in the draft is the next Adrian Peterson. Right now, if I had to pick between having AP and Le'Veon Bell, I'm picking Le'Veon Bell just based upon age and maybe the new way of the way running backs are running with the patience that Le'Veon Bell has. But for a team like New England, I think Adrian Peterson is a absolute perfect fit. Look, they are loading up. The Patriots are loading up their offense. They're loading up their defense too. They're really just completely roster loading up. They're preparing to give Tom Brady as many chances as he can get of winning as many Super Bowls as he possibly can before he retires. They realize there's really probably only a solid 2-3 seasons of really good, productive football left. And they're trying to make it possible for him to be as productive as he possibly can, and surrounding him with the best possible roster that they can. And they're doing a damn good job of it. If you put Adrian Peterson on that roster, that is insane. If he is even 80% of what 70, 60, I don't give a shit. If he's even close to the production that he was when he was with the Vikings, not the last season, obviously, because he's had injuries, but if he stays healthy and he's at least 70, 80% of what he used to be, the Patriots are unstoppable on offense. Absolutely unstoppable. Between the greatest quarterback of all time, and I'm not even going to say arguably the greatest quarterback. In my opinion, he is the absolute greatest quarterback of all time. The numbers don't lie. If you have the greatest quarterback of all time with an incredible wide receiver in Brandon Cooks, young, fast, just so dangerous. Another young wide receiver in Malcolm Mitchell, who just has good hands. He's a strong kid. He has that mindset. He's smart. You pair him with veterans like Julian Edelman and somewhat younger Chris Hogan, and then you have Gronk. Let's not even mention Gronk and the new pickup of Dwayne Allen. We're going to put those two tight ends there. We're going to have all these receivers running routes. Unless your defense has the best secondary and you can fill the box with the best linebackers in the league, there's nothing you can do. Go ahead, try to match up against Brandon Cooks, Gronk, and Adrian Peterson. You can't do it. You physically can't do it. We have a decent O-line. Especially with Rex Burkhead, Dion Lewis, and James White, if we throw AP in the mix, I fear for other teams. And this may be me coming off a little biased and a little cocky, but the possibilities that we have with picking up AP is insane. I don't want to pay him $8 million a year, obviously. But if he said he's willing to give teams a discount that are ready to win titles, this is the team he needs to go to. We are loaded up. We have the cap space to give you $3 to $4 million for a season. Go for a 1-2-year contract, $3 to $4 million a season. That's not hurting us. We're not losing anything right there. I have no issue at all with any 1-year contract because it's a tryout year. Obviously, it's a little different for AP because of his age, and he could drop off dramatically next year. But if we give him 2 seasons of $3 to $4 million, I have so much confidence in our backfield to help produce more of a run game than just Tom Brady throwing just the all game throwing. I think he threw like 50 passes in the Super Bowl, or maybe that wasn't the Super Bowl. Maybe that was. No, I think it was the Super Bowl. I think it was either the Super Bowl or the playoff game, but I'm pretty confident it was the Super Bowl. He threw a shit ton of passes. If we add a running game to that, unstoppable, absolutely unstoppable. Oh, okay, you wanna guard AP, you wanna load up the box. Tom Brady's gonna pick your secondary apart all day with Brandon Cooks and all those targets. Even if you manage to cover the receivers and you manage to just contain Adrian Peterson, we have Gronk. We have Dwayne Allen. We have these big, meaty dudes that got these big-ass palms that'll just catch anything you throw at them. And you can't match up against that. There's nothing you could do. At that point, you're taking away the best possible. You're taking away our best player. That's what you're doing. That's all you can possibly do. You're giving up a ton of yards no matter what. And not to mention, bringing in AP is going to probably keep Tom Brady on the team longer. If we have a more solidified running game, the amount of less hits he'll take, which he doesn't take a lot of hits in the first place. He's pretty quick about getting the ball out, and the O-line's pretty good at protecting him. But if we add a running game in there where they're not going to be, the D-line isn't going to be trying to rush off the edge as fast as they can. They're gonna have to think twice about it because you have one of the best running backs in the game running right past you. And I don't know. I think people need to ignore the past. People make mistakes. People do shitty things. It happens. You're not going to get past that. But the production that he brings to a football team, you can't pay that. You can't buy that. I mean, I guess you can if you're not paying it, but you guys know what I mean. There's nothing like, I am totally prepared to have him on the team, and I think he'd be a great addition. That's all I'm going to say on that topic because I know some people get touchy, and that's all we're going to go for from there. Let's move on to TJ Watt because he also had a visit with New England. I don't remember exactly what it was. I didn't read too much into that, but I did see a story where they met with each other. I think it was just kind of a feeling them out. All that does, I want to first say that I love TJ Watt. I think he's going to be great. He's got that older brother influence of one, like the best defensive player in the league by far. When he's healthy, we'll go with that. You have that mentor. You have that competition and workout, like he stated. He said him and his brother had been working a lot, and that competition helps both of them. But you have TJ Watt is going to take advice from his older brother, and he's younger, so he knows he's going to be, by the time he's JJ Watt's age, I think he's better than JJ Watt. I think the kid is an animal. I would love to have him on the team, and I know he's going to go in the first round. I know he's not going to slip past the first round, and if he does, I would be very shocked. And I know he's not going to slip past the second round 100%. There is no way. Unless he breaks something and gets a major injury, there's no way he's not cracking at least the top 2 rounds. And since we met with them, that tells me that the New England Patriots are ready to move up in the draft and get a first or a second round pick. I'm thinking early second or mid to late first round pick. I think that's what they're looking for. Which also kind of makes me feel like they're ready to move Jimmy Garoppolo. I think they're getting ready to package some picks. I think they're gonna try to get a first round and a second for him. Like I said earlier, I think it's gonna happen, and if it doesn't happen before draft day, I think it's gonna happen on draft day. For me, I think the Browns are waiting for it to be more of a how do I put this? I think the Browns are waiting for them to see who is drafted before their 12th pick. I think if either Deshaun Watson or Deshaun Kaiser get drafted before the 12th pick, I think they're going after Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that's the reality of the situation, and all that visit with TJ Watt just solidifies that thought for me, because why would you visit with a player that's going to be picked up in the first 2 rounds if you don't even have a first 2 round picks? There's obviously a reason you're looking at that player. I don't think it's just they're just doing their due diligence. I think they're ready to move up. And with that, let's move on to Gronkowski's health and him in the WWE, which kind of coincide with each other. I don't know if any of you guys watched WrestleMania last night. I know I didn't, but I keep up with news for the most part, and I definitely saw Gronk get in the ring. And there's 2 sides to this. One, it worries me. And it worries me because it's obviously dangerous. He's not being very safe. And I know he wasn't doing any crazy moves or anything, but the fact that he did it just worries me a little. And I know it's WWE's fake, so I know they're not going to put him in danger and in harm's way. But accidents happen, and I think the carelessness bothers me with that. However, it makes me feel good because I know he's healthy. I know he wouldn't do something like that if he was not 100%. And I feel very confident going into next season that he's 100% ready to go. And I think, I'm hoping he does not take another injury. Because last year, he was healthy. He got healthy in the middle of the season, and then he played. But you know what? There's risks. I feel more confident if a player gets injured and for the rest of the season. I feel more confident about him next season than if he gets injured in training camps and he misses the first 2 weeks. Because if he gets injured the season before and he recovers, he has all that time to recover and he's ready to go by the time the gates open, he's good to go. When you get injured before the season starts and you're still recovering when the season starts, there's a bigger chance of you coming back too early because you're just anxious to go out and play. And so I feel better about his health. And this kind of solidifies that thought. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously want Gronk to be healthy. He's one of the best players on the team when he's healthy, and he's a huge impact player. We won the Super Bowl without him. We didn't have Gronk, and we won the Super Bowl. Our team has gotten significantly better this last offseason. With Gronk, I'm very excited for this next season. Even with the tough schedule we have, which is what we're going to talk about next, it's no secret that the Patriots generally kind of get away with having some fairly easy schedules, and I'm not knocking us for it. I understand we don't have any control over it, but it tends to happen, and when you win a Super Bowl coming off that nobody lets you forget it. And so, but this next season, our schedule is actually tough. We are in a subpar division. I mean, the Jets, the Bills, the Dolphins are getting better. The teams are getting better, minus maybe the Jets, but they're not heavy competition for the division. I mean, if we're being totally honest. And this next season, minus our division games, our schedule ranks. No, not minus. Sorry. With the division games, our schedule ranks 12. It ranks 12 among the entire league. That's with our division games. So with including the shitty, easy games that we have, our schedule is ranked 12 among the league. We are playing 7 heavy hitter playoff teams. That is nuts to me. I don't remember. I know we play the Texans. I know we play the Steelers. I know we play the Raiders. I know we play the Chiefs, the Broncos. I'm trying to think of what are the other teams. I can't remember exactly what other teams we play that are tough. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I know we have a tough schedule next year. And I think we're ready to go, though. I think we're going to come out swinging, and I think we're going to... The only thing that I hope doesn't happen is I hope we don't have a Golden State Warriors type of year. You know, where, I mean, the Golden State Warriors are absolutely filthy on paper, but they were one of the best. They were one of the better teams in the NBA last year. And I don't follow basketball, but if you play 2K, NBA 2K, if you go on their roster, 3 or 4 of the 5 starters are almost 90 overall. Steph Curry's 90 overall, somewhere in there. Kevin Durant now, not Andre Iguodala. I can't remember his name. I think he's their power forward, or maybe their center. He's 90 overall. Draymond Green, that's what I'm thinking of. And then Klay Thompson. 4 of those 4 are in the 90 overall status. 90 overall. Their 5th guy is like 83 or something like that. That's not on 2K. I'm using 2K ratings. That is insane. But they have not had a good... Once they put Kevin Durant on the roster, they have not been as good as they were without him. Personally, their record doesn't show it. I think they've kind of struggled more. And granted, he's been injured a little bit, but it's clear they've struggled a little more this year. And I could just be super ignorant because I don't really follow basketball, so I could just be completely wrong on this. But that's kind of what I feel like is happening from an outsider's perspective. And I understand they're different sports, so it's going to be different. But I'm hoping we don't get the same treatment of us just completely loading up on talent and then us not being able to use it, which I don't feel like is going to happen with the coaching staff that we have. But you never know, and that would really suck to have that happen. But I'm nearing the end of my time, so I'm going to wrap it up with our last topic here, which is some of the rules, not necessarily rules, but some of the things that the commissioner is doing with the pace of game, I like the changes. I think this is the first time that Roger Goodell has done something that I appreciate. I feel like he's trying to do his best to not be such a prick anymore. And I obviously, us Patriots fans have a little more hate in our hearts toward Roger Goodell, mainly because of the whole Deflategate thing and how he handled that. But I like the way he's heading towards this season with cutting out the commercials, and I actually like the play clock after touchdowns and stuff. I think it's good because if you add that and then give players free reign to celebrate however they want, you're never wasting time. You know what I mean? Like, you're not normally. I think part of the big reason why they didn't want those big celebrations is because of TO and all the antics that he did were actually delaying the game because he was getting in the way of them playing, and it was causing the games to take longer. And they didn't want that. They want the games to go by quicker so people are more interested in them. And I think that's one of the big reasons why they started enforcing celebration rules. And I feel like if you just add the play clock and then give them free reign to do whatever they want, short of obviously using props, because sometimes it's a little ridiculous. Like when you pull a cell phone out of the uprights, that's a little far. And I'm not opposed to it if a player wants to do it. If we have a player like that, we have like another TO that just doesn't care, by all means, do whatever you want. It's entertaining as hell. It does not bother me one bit. I like being entertained like that. It makes me laugh, watching players make fools of themselves, and then knowing that they're getting $30,000-$40,000 fines and they just don't care. That's one of the reasons why I like Marshawn Lynch so much. I hate the Seahawks with a passion. I live in Seattle, and I absolutely hate the Seahawks. My family are all Seahawks fans, and I despise the Seahawks. Marshawn Lynch and John Ryan are the only two former Seahawks that I actually like. I think John Ryan's still on Stephen Hauschka got moved. John Ryan's still on the team, I think. I'm not sure, but I don't really keep up with the Seahawks. Marshawn Lynch didn't give a fuck. He did whatever he wanted. He didn't care about the fines. He didn't want to talk. He just took the fines. He just says, "Go ahead, fine me. I don't care. And I'm just here so I won't get fined." He doesn't give a shit. He just doesn't want to talk. I respect that. I respect him as a person and as a football player, and I like that attitude. It's entertaining to watch, you know. And the other reason, I'll just a quick explanation of why I like John Ryan. Just go to his Twitter profile picture. That's the only reason why I like John Ryan. Just because he's just, punters are funny, man. I like punters. they don't do a ton, they're not, a lot of them aren't really in shape, but they're funny dudes. Alright, well, that about wraps it up for this episode. This is a little longer than I expected, but you know what? It is what it is. I didn't really get the viewership that I was expecting the last video. I wasn't expecting to get like hundreds and hundreds of views, but I got, I think, one. Like, I think I literally got one view. So I mean, I'm gonna try to advertise this a little better, and I'm gonna redo some of the art because it kind of looks cheap and crappy. So if you're watching this all the way to the end, please subscribe, like, comment, do something to tell your friends about it if you like it and they're interested in this kind of stuff. Help me out a little bit. I'm trying to make this a little better. I realized the last video was a little quiet, and I'm thinking about taking the music out and just kind of messing with the audio a little more. I'm going to take the music out of everything, but give me your feedback. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you sometime later this week.